Today, guys, we're going to read my brand new short novel, Molly Wix and Mr. Frog. I hope you guys enjoy the story. Molly opened a special birthday present. It was a cuddly, soft toy frog. She was so happy that she got her special toy to take care for many years. Well, almost many years. "Happy birthday, Molly," said Mrs. Wix. "Thank you, Mum," said Molly Wix. She took Mr. Frog to the park. Molly went down the sledge with Mr. Frog. Molly jumped into the pile of leaves with Mr. Frog. Molly played the drums with Mr. Frog. Molly had fun with her favourite toy frog. "You're the best frog ever, Mr. Frog," said Molly Wix. "Dinner time," called Mrs. Wix. "Coming, Mum," said Molly, as she brought her favourite toy frog downstairs to have dinner. As she sat down to eat her delicious food, Mrs. Wix went upstairs to give her sickly husband some dinner. "Get well soon," said Mrs. Wix, and she kissed him. "Thank you," said Mr. Wix. After Molly had her dinner, she went upstairs to see her dad. He hasn't got out of bed for 12 years. He's been long sick for years, and he never got better. She was wondering if Mr. Frog was alive. "You could only imagine if Mr. Frog was alive," said Mr. Wix. "Tonight I could try and make a wish. I'll be careful not to say it out loud, otherwise it won't come," said Molly. "Okay," said Mr. Wix. "Good night, Dad," said Molly. "Good night, Molly," said Mr. Wix. Molly came to hug her dad, but not too hard, though. Molly hopped onto her bed with Mr. Frog, and then she opened the window and looked at the sky. The stars sparkled, and she began to close her eyes and make a wish. "I wish Mr. Frog was alive," she sighed, as she cuddled Mr. Frog. "Good night, Mr. Frog," said Molly. It was morning. Molly woke up and Mr. Frog was gone. She looked for him. She looked under the bed. She looked under the pillow. She looked under the blanket. And she looked everywhere in her bedroom. "Mr. Frog," said Molly Wix, "where are you?" Suddenly, she heard a voice. The voice was coming from outside. She looked out the window and she saw Mr. Frog having a tea party with his friends. Mr. Squirrel, Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Fox, Mr. Badger and Mr. Pig. "I can't believe Mr. Frog is alive," said Molly Wix. "And even Mr. Squirrel, Mr. Pig, Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Fox and Mr. Badger." She got out of the house and walked slowly towards the 6 animals having a tea party. Mr. Frog and his friends looked at Molly Wix. "Mr. Frog?" smiled Molly nervously. "Hi, Molly," said Mr. Frog. I can't believe it." Molly smiled nervously. "You're alive." "Yes, I am," said Mr. Frog. "All of you are alive," said Molly Wix. She was excited to see her little friends come to life. Everyone cheered for Molly. "Your wish came true," cried Mr. Fox. "Did it?" said Molly Wix. "I knew my wish came true." She was so happy to see it and have fun with her friends. She sat down to have a tea party. "Thank you for inviting me to have tea," smiled Molly as she was going to drink tea full of sugar and she coughed. Her mouth was covered in sugar. Mr. Pig laughed. "It looks like you have a white moustache out of sugar," he laughed. Molly wiped the sugar off her face with laughter. Suddenly, Mr. Monkey came in a panic. Mr. Frog, he panted. "What's wrong, Mr. Monkey?" asked Mr. Frog. "Mr. Monkey?" asked Molly. "Mr. Mole is having trouble with piranhas," panted Mr. Monkey. "Don't panic, Mr. Monkey. We'll save Mr. Mole," said Mr. Frog. "Mr. Mole's in trouble," cried Molly. She and her friends ran through the forest to rescue their friend, Mr. Mole. "Don't worry, Mr. Mole, we're on our way," cried Molly. Until then they saw Mr. Mole stuck on a branch above the pond. "Help!" cried Mr. Mole. "Don't worry, I'll help you," said Molly Wix bravely. As she built a raft out of wood and she began to try and reach Mr. Mole, but she needed more sticks to build a raft to go far enough to reach Mr. Mole before he would fall in and get eaten by piranhas. "I can't hold on much longer," he cried. "My arms are aching." Suddenly his arm slipped off the branch and Molly grabbed him before he splashed into the pond and got eaten by piranhas. "Thanks for rescuing me," said Mr. Mole. "What were you doing on the branch, Mr. Mole?" asked Molly Wix, putting Mr. Mole down. "I was playing tag with Mr. Monkey. Then I climbed up the tree and I got stuck on a branch. I dangled above the pond and those menacing piranhas were trying to eat me," said Mr. Mole. "I'm glad you're okay, Mr. Mole," said Mr. Frog. One day, Molly Wix and her friends had been walking in the woods all day. "My feet are hurting," whimpered Mr. Badger. "I need a wee," wailed Mr. Rabbit. "I'm hungry for nuts," wailed Mr. Squirrel. "The sun is in my eyes," wailed Mr. Pig. "I miss relaxing," wailed Mr. Fox. "I need a poo," wailed Mr. Monkey. "I want my mum," wailed Mr. Mole. "Don't worry, everybody, we're almost there," smiled Molly. Suddenly they've heard the sound of a trumpet, and they saw all the beavers marching around, blowing trumpets, carrying a giant treasure chest and a royal carriage with the Queen Beaver and the Prince. "No way!" smiled Molly Wix. "Queen Beaver and Prince Beaverton! Let's follow them," said Mr. Frog. Molly and her friends marched behind the soldier beaver, marching. "Focus on marching," sighed Mr. Fox. "Focus on marching. Focus on marching." Everyone marched around the woods until they've made it to the Beaver Kingdom. "Hello, Molly," said Queen Beaver. Molly and her friends bowed to the Queen. "Your Majesty," said Molly Wix. "Nice to see you, Your Majesty," said Mr. Frog. "Welcome to my kingdom," said Queen Beaver. "A kingdom full of beavers. My great-grandfather built this town for beavers to keep away from menacing savage predators." "Predators?" shrieked Mr. Mole. "What predators, Your Majesty?" "The wolf pack," said Queen Beaver. "Those horrible vicious creatures tried to hunt us down." "You look beautiful, Molly," said Prince Beaverton. "Thank you, Prince Beaverton," smiled Molly Wix. "In some days you will be king." "That's what my mum said to me long time ago," said Prince Beaverton. Suddenly, everyone heard the sound of hungry wolves howling. The beavers panicked in horror. "Everybody take cover," shouted Queen Beaver. Everybody was hiding in different places in the Beaver Kingdom. The wolves were looking for the beavers to eat for dinner. "Gone again," snarled Scarfang, "but not for long." The wolves stalked away from the Beaver Kingdom. Everyone in the kingdom got out from whichever place they hid in. "Phew," said everybody. "Scarfang," said Molly Wix, "the leader of the wolf pack." Molly and her friends were going to go on a quest to stop those wolves. "Molly, Molly, it's too dangerous, you can't go," wailed Prince Beaverton. "Don't worry," said Molly. "I will stop those wolves from coming to destroy the Beaver Kingdom." "Be careful," said Prince Beaverton. One day, Molly and her friends went on a quest to stop Scarfang and his wolf pack. "My mother told me about the wolf pack a long time ago," said Mr. Frog. "The wolves are the most dangerous animals that tried to kill us in this world." "You've had a mother?" said Molly Wix. "Yeah, she got killed by the wolves," said Mr. Frog. It's been hours since Molly and her friends went for a long walk in the woods to find the wolves. Well, everyone began to feel hungry, so they decided to go and do some fishing. Right. Mr. Frog finally caught a big fish as it landed on his head. Mr. Frog shook it off and tried to hold it as the fish was wiggling about and it bounced off his hand. "Quick, catch the fish!" shouted Molly Wix. Mr. Frog chased after the bouncing fish. "Come back here," he shouted, but the fish wouldn't stop bouncing away. "Na, na, 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 na," thought the fish as it blew raspberries at Mr. Frog. "Why, you little," he snarled. The fish was bouncing and bouncing and bouncing, until the bear caught it with his claws, and Mr. Frog gulped, and his body shook. "Excuse me," he spluttered. "That fish is mine." "No, it's not," growled the bear. "It's our fish." "Come on," said the other bear. Let's invite this frog for a bear party." Mr. Frog followed the bears to their party. "Our first guest," said the bear, twisting the handle by cooking the fish. "Perhaps you would like Perhaps you would like to try some of our fish? Asked the bear. Oh, yes, please, said Mr. Frog. He untied the fish from above the fire and took a bite. His cheeks turned red and the water gurgled from his eyes. It's delicious, he cried. Welcome to our home, said the bear. It's been hours since Mr. Frog had fun with the bears until Molly found him. Mr. Frog, she said, what are you doing with the bears? I was just having fun here. The bears are fun, said Mr. Frog. I thought I was fun, said Molly Wix. You are fun too. You're my best friend, said Mr. Frog. Molly and Mr. Frog ran back to the pond until suddenly Molly tripped over a stick, a sharp, spiky stick. Then she looked at her foot and there was a nasty cut on it, a red scratch on her foot. And suddenly the bears smelt the blood from Molly Wix's scratched foot, and they became savage. Smells good, said the bears. Molly and her friends ran away and the savage bears chased after them. Why are we running away from the bears? Cried Mr. Monkey. Because they are going to eat us for dinner, said Mr. Rabbit. They smell blood, shrieked Mr. Squirrel. I want my nuts. I wish we went back to the Beaver Kingdom, yelled Mr. Pig, to warn Queen Beaver about the savage bears chasing after us, shrieked Mr. Mole. She only worries about the wolf pack other than the bears, said Mr. Fox. Molly and her friends ran into the forest to get away from the bloodthirsty bears until they stopped at the old crooked bridge. The bears were still chasing after them. There's no choice, said Molly Wix. Follow me and be careful. Molly Wix took one step. The bridge creaked. The bears were still chasing them. Molly and her friends hurried across the old crooked bridge. Suddenly, the bridge snapped, but everyone made it to the other side except Mr. Mole was stuck on the edge of the cliff. Help! He cried. Don't worry, Mr. Mole, said Molly Wix, as she grabbed the hold of him before he fell to his death. Thanks for saving me again, cried Mr. Mole. The bear stopped at the cliff and growled. We'll get you next time, you little brats, snarled the bear. We'll make fishes out of you, snarled the other bear. Well, they won't eat me, said Mr. Badger. I'm a badger, and badgers can attack as well. And even foxes, said Mr. Fox. I do taste delicious, said Mr. Rabbit, but sometimes rabbits can be savage. And maybe a little slow, said Mr. Mole, but I can dig underground 'cause I'm a mole. Look, guys, said Mr. Monkey, I know all of you can be scared and worried about anything you can't do, but you can also be brave, like I tried to be a brave monkey, but no, I'm a cowardly monkey. Look, it's okay to be afraid, Molly said to her friends. I get scared sometimes. All of us can sometimes be scared, but there's bravery inside you, inside all of us. One day, Molly Wix and Mr. Frog went for a walk together and lied down on a soft wavy grass and looked at the skies. Hey, look, said Molly Wix. That cloud looks like a butterfly. Hey, that cloud looks like a girl, said Mr. Frog. Like you. Thanks, said Molly Wix. It's been amazing since me and you went on an adventure together. Yeah, said Mr. Frog, but not just the two of us. Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Pig, Mr. Squirrel, Mr. Fox, Mr. Badger, Mr. Monkey, and Mr. Mole. Molly and Mr. Frog could feel the breeze from the windy air blowing around. They breathed in and breathed out. Molly and Mr. Frog were relaxing for hours until Mr. Monkey rushed towards them, panicking. The wolf pack took Mr. Fox, Mr. Mole, Mr. Pig, Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Mole, and Mr. Badger. He panted and he fainted. Molly Wix and Mr. Frog gasped. We better go rescue them, she said. Scarfang tied all of Molly's and Mr. Frog's friends. We shall eat all of you, then we'll eat all of the beavers, snarled Tusk. Yeah, for our midnight snack, said Scratch. No, we must wait until we hunt down those beavers, snarled Scarfang. Suddenly, the beavers saw some wolves, and they ran away. The wolves chased after them. The beavers panicked. The wolves were still chasing them, and until they invaded the Beaver Kingdom. The beavers were screaming and running around the village. Scarfang grabbed one frightened beaver by the throat. You look like a roasted beaver, he snarled. And he threw the poor beaver and locked him in the cage where the other beavers are. All of the beavers were so scared. They were locked in a huge cage. The wolves were so hungry to eat the beavers. They were panicking in the cage. As for you, Queen Beaver, I'll be taking over this kingdom, and I'll be king, snarled Scarfang. Queen Beaver stood up bravely. You'll never be king, she shouted. Get out of my kingdom right now. Molly, Mr. Frog and Mr. Monkey came to rescue their friends and the beavers. Leave my friends alone, shouted Molly Wix bravely. Oh, you've brought the little girl and her pets as well to destroy me and my pack, said Scarfang. Your Majesty, are you okay? Asked Molly Wix. Yes, I'm fine, coughed Queen Beaver. Guess I'll have to eat you as well, snarled Scarfang. As soon as he was about to eat Molly Wix and Queen Beaver, Prince Beaverton stood in front bravely. Back off! This is my kingdom, Scarfang! Shouted Prince Beaverton. Leave and never return! Queen Beaver was so proud of his son becoming brave and told Scarfang to leave the kingdom and never return. All the beavers chased after the pack of wolves with their pointy spears. The wolves were scared. Retreat! Yelled the wolf. All of the wolves ran away. The beavers threw spears at them. Well, yeah, all of the wolves were gone and everyone cheered. Thank you for saving us, said Queen Beaver. You're welcome, Your Majesty, said Molly Wix. We'll always be your best friends, Molly, said Mr. Fox. Suddenly, Scarfang stalked behind Molly Wix. Behind you! Cried Mr. Mole. Molly ran into the woods and Scarfang chased after her. Do I have to do everything myself? He growled. Suddenly, Molly tripped over another stick and she scratched her other foot. Oh no, not again, she cried. Scarfang could smell her blood. I smell blood, he snarled. Molly Wix jumped over the cliff. She saw a huge mountain and she climbed and she climbed and she climbed. I'll make a roast girl for dinner, said Scarfang. Suddenly strong wind blew hardly and lightning began to strike. No one will ever save you now, Molly Wix, Scarfang snarled. As soon as he began to eat Molly, Mr. Frog came and stood bravely. Leave my friend alone. You shouldn't kill everyone like a psychopath, he shouted. Mr. Frog and Scarfang were fighting each other. You're going down, Frog, snarled Scarfang as he ripped Mr. Frog's chest with his claws. And growled at Molly Wix. If I can take over this world, I'll be the new king and everyone will bow to me, he snarled. Molly Wix slipped off the edge and Scarfang stood at the edge and looked down to her. Your friends will be gone forever, he said. Never! Shouted Molly bravely and she climbed back up and ran from him. Scarfang tried to catch her. Suddenly Scarfang slipped off and fell to his death. Are you okay, Mr. Frog? Asked Molly Wix, worrying. It's so painful. That Scarfang's torn my chest, coughed Mr. Frog. I'll take you back to the Beaver Kingdom, wailed Molly Wix. As soon as Molly and Mr. Frog came back to the Beaver Kingdom, everyone cheered. You're the best friend ever, Molly Wix, cheered Mr. Squirrel. Thank you, Mr. Squirrel, said Molly. I can't believe you stood face to face with that savage Scarfang once and for all, cheered Mr. Rabbit. Prince Beaverton came to kiss Molly. Thanks for saving the kingdom, he said to her. Queen Beaver came to give Prince Beaverton the big royal crown, for now Prince Beaverton is now King Beaverton. All hail King Beaverton, cried Queen Beaver as she became the Queen Mother. Everyone cheered at King Beaverton as well. Suddenly, Molly saw Mr. Frog lying on the floor and coughing in pain. Molly picked him up like a baby. Well done for saving the kingdom, said Mr. Frog, coughing painfully. I saved it, said Molly Wix. We are best friends forever, said Mr. Frog. Mr. Frog closed his eyes, and Molly began to cry. But then she began to wake up in her own bedroom, and she realised that it was just a dream. It was all just a dream, said Molly Wix. But just then, Mrs. Wix came upstairs to see her. Rise and shine, she said. Mum, guess what? Molly smiled. I just had a dream. A happiest and wonderful dream ever. I've made a wish that Mr. Frog and the rest of mine and his friends came to life. And we've saved the Beaver Kingdom from Scarfang and his savage wolf pack. Mrs. Wix was amazed. Come on, Molly. Time for school, she said. Molly took Mr. Frog to school, and then she said goodbye to her mum. Goodbye, Mum, she said, and kissed her mum. Bye, sweetheart, said Mrs. Wix. I'll see you later. They both waved goodbye to each other. The end. Alright, that's the end of the story. What do you think of the story, guys? Please let me know in the comments below. Yeah. So, in some days, I'm going to make another one. Yeah. And I might try and read it to you guys. Even though this front bit of the book doesn't have the picture of Molly Wix and Mr. Frog just yet. Yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching this video. If you like this video, if I want to do some more novels, please remember to click the like button as hard as you can, and subscribe to my channel, and leave some comments down below. You can also go check out Bone Channel's channel, Shaun and Lemming, Milk and the Cat, Mickey Sands, etc. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Goodbye!